I have seen so many Amazon essentials, Shein essentials, it is any kind of essential. I've seen so many essentials videos on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever lately, that I wanted to talk about some things that I think are actual wardrobe essentials or actual essentials. Not even essentials, they're just, you can opt into them. Nothing is an essential in these videos, and nothing is an essential in the videos that I'm referencing here, where everything is an essential and you need it. I'm going to go through some basic, fundamental things that you can have in your wardrobe and that I personally have to maintain what I already have. This has two benefits. My clothes and my shoes and my garments look better for longer, and I don't feel the need to go out and replace them sooner than otherwise I might. I don't get sick of them because they don't look bad, they don't feel bad, they still feel new. So in the spirit of that, I will also go through things that I don't think you need. And starting with that, I will say I don't think you need a steamer. I have a steamer right here. It's the Jiffy brand, which is an American brand. It's very popular in the fashion industry. I bought it on Facebook Marketplace a couple of years ago, and I'm actually selling it today also on Facebook Marketplace because I don't use it. I don't get the use out of it that I thought. And with steamers in general, I find that they fog up your house. If you live in a small space, I'm in an apartment, they fog up the space. They leave the clothes feeling a little bit wet. You can't get the crinkles out of them as easily as with an iron. And it's just a lot of hassle. Like, how many times are you really going to get out the steamer and make sure it's filled with water, even if you have one of the little handheld Philips ones? Maybe you might find use for a handheld steamer if you have a lot of like gossamer thin silk or cotton or linen things that crinkle really easily. But that's also a tip. Try not to buy things that wrinkle super easily. So yeah, I don't think you need to rush out and buy a steamer. I thought I needed a steamer. I was wrong. What I do have instead is an iron, and you can have an iron from anywhere. This is the Sunbeam brand, but basically they have settings on them for the different kinds of fabric that you might be using. And if you are ironing something more delicate, you might have it on the silk setting, which is the lowest heat, and you might also put a bit of cotton fabric over the top just to protect it a bit further. But just be honest with yourself and go, do I really wear things that really, really need to be ironed all the time, or really, really need to be steamed all the time? If you do, then fine, invest in a good iron or even a steamer. But I don't think you need I don't think you need a steamer. You can have an iron. And if you don't have space for an ironing board, that is fine, because my grandmother doesn't have an ironing board, but she has a very thick woolen blanket that she folds up on her counter and then puts a thick cotton sheet folded on top of it. And that's her ironing board. And then she can just put it away in her linen cupboard when she's done with it. So I don't think you need a steamer, but an iron could be handy if you wear a lot of cotton shirts like I do, just to freshen them up a bit. And viscose pants, because my viscose pants don't wrinkle as much as linen pants do, but they still do wrinkle. So I would say an iron is a basic essential and a steamer is not. In a similar vein to with taking care of fabric, I would say a pill shaver is a game changer for maintaining things like knitwear. They are very easy to use. So this is the pill shaver I have. It's the Philips brand, but you can get them pretty much anywhere. You can probably buy an off-brand one somewhere. They're not very expensive, between $15 to $30. I wouldn't spend any more than that because they're battery operated. And they look like this. There's a little chamber that collects all of the dust. So when you're wearing a jumper for a while, regardless of whether it's wool or synthetic, you'll notice that it gets the little balls around the arms and the side. That's called pilling, the little pills. And so you just basically use this like a lawnmower over the area where the pills are, and it clears it up and makes it look honestly brand new. So I would say a pill shaver is another essential, or another useful basic that you can use in your wardrobe. It doesn't take up much space at all. Next, especially if you're a pet owner, the cat is wandering around somewhere here. She has orange fur and I'm wearing black pants. So a lint roller or a lint brush of some kind is very handy, especially if you're about to run out the door and you realize you're covered in pet hair. Simple enough, you just roll it over and it should theoretically remove the majority of the pet hair. You can also get sticky tape if you can't be bothered getting a lint roller. You can also ball up sticky tape on your hand and do that, and that should lift the lint and the pet hair from your clothing. And you can also ball up aluminium foil and put it in, not the dryer, put it in the washing machine, and that acts as a lint catcher. You can also purchase these ready-made from places like Kmart or probably Amazon or eBay, but if you don't want to go out and buy one, my partner's mother always recommends putting a balled up bit of aluminium foil in the washing machine. Not the dryer though, because it's metal. Another basic item for looking after your wardrobe is a wash bag. I have these in several sizes. They usually come in multiple packs, like multi-size packs, because you can fit different things in the different sizes. Whenever you are washing stockings and hosiery, the delicate things, when you're washing bras, any kind of lingerie, anything with buttons on it, so any button-down shirts or anything with a zip. Usually, if I have a fairly nice pair of pants that have a zip on them, they all go into garment bags depending on type. So I'll put, bras, stockings into one, shirts and pants into another, but the most important thing is to make sure that all of the buttons and all of the zips are always done up before you put them in. You can also, if you don't have a wash bag and you don't want to go out and get one, you can also just make sure that every time you're washing shirts and pants that they're all buttoned up and all zipped up. And the reason for this is that whilst they're being agitated in the washing machine, you don't want the button to get caught on something else and get ripped off. You also don't want the open edge of a zipper to abrade other clothing in the wash, particularly if you have something delicate like wool in there as well. That will just wear down the fabric and could also cause rips and tears when you're washing. I have been in a position where I've washed a shirt and when I've taken it out of the washing machine, a button has been broken. So it's a very easy precaution you could take to save yourself from having to sew on a button again, find a matching button, or just put up with having a favorite shirt ruined. Fortunately, in that instance, the shirt was new and I did have a spare button still on the tag. But yes, wash bags, really cheap, really easy to use. Now I'm going to move on to things that you can do to look after your shoes, footwear. The first thing I'm going to say is the magic eraser. You can get these, this is off-brand, but if you want to look for magic erasers that are cheap, look for melamine sponges. That's all this is. It's just basically plastic foam, and the foam acts as a very light abrasive on whatever you're trying to clean. So if you have white leather sneakers or white shoes with a white gum sole, magic erasers are much more effective than like an old toothbrush at cleaning them and making them white again. I will see if I can put in some footage of me cleaning a pair of my white shoes with magic erasers. But basically, this dirty sole on this pair of white leather sneakers, I would spray possibly even spray and wipe some kind of detergent onto this and just scrub it and then wipe it down, and it should be clean. Like, should be pretty much good as new, aside from the other wear and tear. So magic erasers are very, very inexpensive. They're probably just over $2 at Kmart, which is, I think they had Kmart in the US, but it's different. Kmart is probably Australia's biggest budget retailer, probably Australia's equivalent to Walmart, except we don't sell groceries there. So yes, magic erasers are very, very handy. They barely take up any space. You can use them a couple of times and then discard them. They do wear out quite quickly, so they're also good for countertops and, if you have a little stain on the countertop. But for clothes, shoes rather, they are very convenient. The next thing for shoes is pretty obvious. It is shoe polish. I have been using shoe polish intermittently since I was a child. Before the start of every school term, my mum would have us all polish our shoes, our black leather school shoes, before we went back for the next term to make them all look shiny and new. And my dad would also take the opportunity to spruce up his business shoes at the same time. This is very inexpensive, but this was $6 at our local supermarkets. And I think you can probably use them, you can try using them on polyurethane shoes, but I would recommend using them on leather shoes in the correct color. You can get them clear, you can get it clear, you can get it black, you can get it brown. I've only got black at the moment because I only needed them for black shoes. And I tried them on a pair of knee boots that I wear all the time and a pair of ankle boots that I have had for a couple of years, and also a pair of black sandals that I've worn all through Europe and Asia in the heat and the rain and washing them, and they just looked a lot quite worse for wear. But I applied shoe polish to them, and I think the difference is night and day. They look honestly almost new again, and I'm no longer dreading having to rely on them as a comfortable pair of shoes when the weather warms up again, because they don't look terrible anymore. And this is what I'm talking about when I say it, maintaining your garments prevents you from replacing things unnecessarily, because in all other aspects, the shoes are perfectly fine. These sandals, they're leather, they're an Italian brand with a breathable footbed. They're great in hot weather, they're comfortable, they're supportive, they're well made. It's just that they were faded and they didn't look good, and I didn't want to wear them. So shoe polish was a $6 solution, which makes them look new. And I also used the magic eraser on the white part of the sole, so it's a win-win. The next thing on shoes is the humble shoehorn. I recently bought a pair of black croc leather loafers from a brand called Seed Heritage, and I couldn't get my foot into them when I tried them on in the store for about 10 minutes. And I was quite worried at that, because once I got them on, they were the right size, but I couldn't get my foot in without significant struggle because the leather was stiff and the opening was fairly small. I did order them, however, because I tried on the larger size and thought, no, I better not order too big because I'll regret it once they wear in. So I consulted with my mum, who suggested I use a shoehorn. So she lent me her shoehorn, and I got the shoe on in, under 5 seconds. And then I could feel that it was the right size and that it would soften to my foot. So using a shoehorn to get into your shoes also, if you have stiffer shoes, it will protect the back of the shoe, it will protect the heel and stop it from slouching and wearing down over time if you're trying to shove your foot into it every time you wear them. So a shoehorn, this was $4 maybe at our local discount chemist warehouse. So shoehorns are very handy. You can also get quarter size ones that might fit in your handbag if you're going away somewhere. And on the topic of those loafers, I also found out about moleskin. I've heard it referenced in some places and I didn't know what it was. It turns out it's just a thin bit of foam with a cotton backing on one side and adhesive backing on the other. And what you do is when the shoe starts to rub on your heel, you apply it to your foot, and then using the shoehorn to hold the moleskin in place while you slip your foot in, it then pads your foot much more effectively than putting band-aids on your heel will. And this was really convenient to find out, because the black loafers, while wearing them in, breaking them in is going well, on the back of my right heel, it rubs a bit. I don't know if it will ever fully be comfortable, but I can wear these. I'm not afraid to wear these for a whole day at work, walking to and from the train station, because I have the moleskin on my heel and I know it's not going to bother me. And it's very subtle. If you wear it underneath socks or hosiery, in the little inset video here. Only if you know that it's my right heel and that I have something on it, you can tell that, oh, there's a bit of a bump there. But if I'm just walking down the corridor, no one's going to go, oh, she's got a big white plaster on her heel. So it's very convenient, and even once you've used the piece and it loses its stickiness, you can still hold it in place with the shoe. So I don't think you need to buy a new one every time. You can just reuse the same thing if you need to. But this was a game changer for me. The next thing is a bit of a hack, if you will. I got this from a friend of mine who wears a lot of knee boots, and she is a very, very stylish girl. And it is a boot stuffer. So you can, if you look up boot stuffer or shoe insert, boot insert on eBay, Amazon, online, anywhere, what will come up often is like a blow up shape, like the shaft of the boot that you can put in. But these are often very expensive. If you look them up, they are quite expensive. And while I don't want my boots flopping all over my wardrobe because that's kind of inconvenient and takes up space, what I have done instead is buy a $2 pool noodle from Kmart or just anywhere, you know, the foam pool noodles, cut it in half. See, it's just a pool noodle, and you cut it in half, and then you put a black sock or whatever color your boots are. You find a sock in the matching color that you don't wear anymore and slip it over to disguise it. And then you slip it into your pair of shoes. And this is the cheapest hack for anything I think I've ever found. But the next thing I have for shoes, this is the first time I've tried this, and it looks like a medieval torture device for your shoes. It's probably the most I've spent on any clothing maintenance hack aside from the steamer. I'm not going to include the iron because my iron is on loan from my mum. But this is a shoe stretcher. I got this on eBay for about $20. They come in a set of 2, and what these are for obviously is stretching out your shoes. So these loafers are from Reese. They were quite expensive, and so I'm really reluctant to get rid of them, but I found that this profile of the shoe was very narrow and uncomfortable, not only height-wise, but width-wise. And so I'm hoping that this will fix that. I've tried these on, I had the shoe stretchers in for a couple of days, tried them on, thought they felt looser, and then I was inspired to keep them in for longer. And so once you've put in the shoe insert, every couple of days you go back to where the shoe is sitting and you see if you can tighten it anymore to expand the shoe stretcher anymore, and then that way you gradually expand your shoes. This, however, is only done with leather shoes, because leather stretchers and polyurethane shoes, basically anything that's like a plastic-based PU vegan leather, they will crack and break because it's just plastic. So with leather shoes, you can use shoe stretchers, and I've tried this on another pair as well, which I'll have to rotate because I've only bought one pair. I'll have to rotate between the 2 pairs of shoes until they're sufficiently stretched. But this is probably the most high-tech, maybe not the most expensive thing I've ever bought for clothing maintenance, but this is the highest tech thing I can think I think I can say that I've bought for clothing maintenance. So that brings me to the last thing, because these shoes are suede. Suede, as you may know, picks up dirt like nobody's business. And a lot of fabric picks up dirt like nobody's business if you have a cloth bag or cloth shoes. So the last thing is Scotchgard, or some other, you don't need the Scotchgard brand obviously, but some kind of fabric protector. And what you do is, before the first time that you wear or use maybe a cloth tote bag or a suede pair of shoes, you would spray this in a coat all over the thing, let it dry, and then you can wear it. I usually do 2 coats just to be on the safe side. So I'd spray the whole item, let it dry for a day or so, do another coat, and then wait for that to dry for a day and then wear it. I did this with the pink Adidas Gazelles that I had for a long time. I did it when I first got them, and then it took them a lot longer to get grubbier than they ordinarily would have. So once I cleaned them, midway through owning them, I then reapplied another coat of this, even though they were faded by then. It kept them looking decent until I finally had to admit that they were too worn out to keep. So fabric and upholstery protector, you can probably get it at most supermarkets or hardware stores or on Amazon. You can basically just find this anywhere. It's just called fabric protector or upholstery protector. So that is, yeah, that's the last thing. That's not so much a shoe-centric thing as the other items were, but still very convenient and handy. So that is the wrap up of all of the things that I personally use to maintain my wardrobe and my belongings, keep them looking fresh and new. So if there are any other things that you use that I haven't mentioned here, please comment below, because I would love to know if there's anything else I could be doing, you know, sewing kits aside. So if you work consistently to freshen up what you already have and to look after it, you don't feel the need to go out and buy new things or go and do a haul or something. I hope you got something out of this video, put it that way. So I'm going to continue on with my day now. Thank you very much for watching.